treat people like that.
I was one of the founding members of Second City over 40 years ago, which I can't believe. It feels like only maybe 30 or 35. I wasn't in the company from the beginning. I came in a few months later. The first group consisted of me, Andrew Duncan, Paul Sand, Howard Auck, Severin Darden, Anthony Holland, Barbara Harris, and Mina Kolb, and Eugene Trubnik. The roster from Second City consists of 2/3 of the humor of the country in the past 20 years, both acting, writing, and directing. It's an amazing, hundreds and hundreds of people, and dozens of whom are people you would know. Just an amazing experience. I was with them 2 years, and it's the only place in the country where you're allowed to fail. Not only allowed to fail, but the audience would come expecting that half of what they would see every night would not work, would be failing. But they liked the challenge that we were facing. They liked to watch that. Most of the people in Second City had come from the University of Chicago, and there was a huge university support for Second City right off the bat. But in those days, it was very socially and politically oriented. It wasn't the humor wasn't based on what was on television last night, the way half of satire is based now. It was based on social conditions and political conditions, and we thought we were going to do something significant for the culture by satirizing things we didn't like, not realizing that you do satire and the people that are for you think it's great and the people that are against you are offended by it. It doesn't change anybody's mind about anything. But we thought we were doing something important and good, and we had a great time doing it. I was in Chicago with Second City for a year, and then we moved to New York, and I was in New York with them for a year. But it was like 20 years of experience. It was an enormously potent learning experience.
Hello.
I'm trying to start an improvisational group for making films improvisatorily. And I finally asked my friend Sheldon Patinkin, who was there even before it was Second City, and I tried to say, what kind of people should I look for? How do I audition people in this way? And I finally said to my friend Sheldon, I said, when Second City started, when Compass, which was the antecedent to Second City, got put together, how did you find the people? Where did you get the people? How did you put that together? He says, we just got together a group of people that we liked and we knew. And I said, of course. How well? Yeah, it's the only way to do anything that works. You get together a bunch of friends and you iron out the problems, and it's always the best way to work.
This is Nyborg. I'm calling from...
I've done a lot of directing over the years, and one of the things I found is if I hire somebody that's had a lot of improvisational experience, they immediately have a grasp of what the entity is about. I don't have to tell them how they're either fitting in or not fitting into the entire experience. They immediately know what their role is in the entirety. And that's not true of an awful lot of actors. And a lot of actors come in, do their thing, they don't really care much about the project or working in terms of a group. But Second City people and improvisation, as a general rule, tend to be kind of very much group-oriented, which is a way that I feel like I work. I'd like to think that I work that way.
Bunch of fucking nonsense, huh?
I do a lot of improvisational workshops. I've been going around the country doing only because somebody asked me once, and the word spread that I do it. So I go when I have time. I do it because I love it. I love doing it. Improvisation gets into primary creativity. Without a director and without a writer, you're doing everything. So you're learning about. I think you have a way of learning deeper things about yourself more quickly than by stepping back a couple of relationships and being an actor. An actor, you're hiding behind the writer's words and the director's partial idea of your interpretation, and then you filter yourself in the way as best you can. But with improvisation, you're right out there, and you cannot not relate to other people. You must relate to other people, otherwise you don't know what you're doing. You're lost. Whereas with acting, you can pretend you're relating to other people a lot and do a good faking job sometimes. I don't like working that way, and I don't enjoy watching people who do work that way, but it happens a lot. But with improvisation, you must work with the people around you. Have to, otherwise you're dead.
Man, all you want. You can't whip a dead horse.
Nope.
all this garbage, sell 10,000, you win a Cadillac, you lose, we're gonna fire your ass. It's medieval.
Yes.
It's wrong.
Yes.
Yes, it is, and you know who's responsible.
Who?
You know who it is. It's Mitch and Murray, because it don't have...
Foley was interesting. I wasn't terribly much aware of his directing until after the thing was all put together. Seeing the final thing, I realized what a brilliant entity it made. I mean, when I heard the first few notes of the music come in, I said, wow, we're in for something. The music captured immediately the entirety of the event, and I thought it was a brilliant choice. And the coloration of, I didn't go to any of the dailies. I don't like to go to dailies anymore. I used to go to make sure I was on the screen. I didn't know whether I was ever going to be on the screen, if I was going to show up. But the choice of coloration and the shooting pattern and the editing, I thought it was just put together just brilliantly. But I wasn't, while we were working, he was very, very supportive, but I didn't get a feeling of doing terribly much until somebody did something that was terrific, and he always knew. When somebody was right on it, he would always know what it was and why it was. But for the most part, he was very quiet about the work he was doing. I didn't have a sense of how it was going to piece together until I actually saw the whole thing put together. I liked working with him a lot.
Well, there's the leads, there's the overheads, there's the phones, there's a lot of stuff.
What do you need? Telephone? Some broad to say good morning? Nothing. Nothing. It's the leads. The whole thing is the leads. You understand me? You can't sell to a void. You got to get a goddamn person. You get a lead, you get a person. I'll go in there and sell him, huh? Otherwise, what do they want from my life?